try to make it new. You can't fight it when it feels so true. You drive me crazy like no one else. The final moment before I lose myself. And it's no use working 9 to 5 if you want more than to stay alive. So come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. Stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, so come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. Stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, the morning light. Oh, I just wanna be your Superman. Come fly with me, just take my hand. And now that we are cruising in mid-flight, you better watch out for the kryptonite. So come on over, we can make it through, make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do, just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night, we're dancing. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, so come on over, we can make it through.
Hi guys, we are on the move again, and this time we are on our way to Miami from Madrid. We are here in the Iberia lounge hanging out until our flight leaves. I think it's another 3 hours to go. We had some chaos at the start of our trip because yesterday we got news that our first flight from Zurich to Madrid was cancelled, and we got booked on an earlier flight, which was so early that we didn't have connections, or public transport connections anyway, from our house to the airport that early in the morning. So we started our vacation one night early. We spent the night at the Zurich airport hotel at the Radisson, which was a nice early kickoff to the vacation, I guess. But here we are now in Madrid. We had about 7 hours to kill here because of the earlier flight, but our flight to Miami is on time and we will be boarding a cruise ship very soon. Before we get there though, we will be enjoying Iberia business class, which we've never tried before, so I'm really excited. I've tried to look at some of the reviews, which haven't been that great. Iberia hasn't gotten a good rap for their business class, but I'm really optimistic. I'm hoping that it'll be something different for us, or at least that our own experience will be a bit different. Who knows? I don't always trust reviews done by other people. I want to experience it myself. And we have heard some good things from our friends who have flown Iberia, so I think it'll be a very good start to another great vacation. Then on Saturday, once we get to Miami, we will be boarding Allure of the Seas for an 8-night cruise down to Aruba and Curacao. We have never been there yet, so that'll be exciting, but just a little bit more waiting to go before we finally board the cruise ship. So thanks for being back on my channel and joining me for this journey. Let's go.
As we look up at the stars in the sky, did we ever stop and wondered why we let our love shine all through the night? Just you and me, babe, until the morning light, the morning light. So come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. Just what I like to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night, keep dancing. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Don't be out of sight. On the beat, keep dancing.
All right, so we are now back home, and I just realized that I never really summarized our experience with Iberia. I would have to say, overall, if you just take the flight in the business class seat, it was fine. The food was nice. There was plenty of choice. You had a choice of appetizer, main course, desserts. They had a few different types of cocktails. They had beers. They had everything you might want from the catering perspective. But I have to say that the service wasn't super great. I mean, speaking English wasn't their strong point. I think I would have had a completely different experience if I spoke Spanish. But as an English speaker, the service was, I would say, quite limited, and they didn't really speak it that well. So maybe a little bit of that Iberia experience was lost in translation. We had a couple instances where they cleared drinks that we were still enjoying without asking. So I was watching a movie, I had a gin and tonic, and all of a sudden I noticed that it was gone, and they hadn't asked if I was finished with it. I still had over half of it in my glass, so it would have been nice to finish that. Of course, I can always get another one if I so wish, but it was just a bit odd. And it wasn't just with that one. I do remember that they also cleared away some snacks or some food that I had not yet finished without asking if I was ready for it to be taken away. But I mean, very small little things, but overall the flight was nice. The seat was very clean. Everything was nice and tidy. We actually flew in business class on our way back as well, and it was a slightly older plane. And I do see where some people said that the seats are a bit dirty. There were some like crumbs and things in that older plane that I could see, but nothing, hugely gross or anything like that. I felt that it was nice and clean, and the service there very similar. I think I would have gotten a better experience in Spanish, but English was just fine. But overall, the customer service side of Iberia, I really didn't enjoy. So shortly before our departure from Zurich to Madrid to Miami, we found out in less than 48 hours that our flight to Madrid was canceled, and we had been booked on an earlier flight. Well, for us, that early flight meant that we didn't have a connection via public transport to the airport, so we needed to spend the night at the Zurich airport, which was an additional expense to us because we had to travel there the day before. Now, I always like to think positive, so I'm like, well, yay, our vacation started a day early, but overall, I have to say that it was an added expense. Then also when we were put on that earlier flight, it meant that we had a 7-hour layover in Madrid, which is a long time, but luckily, since we were in business class, we were able to access the lounge and spend the time there, so it wasn't too bad. There would have been sleeping beds if we wanted to take a rest or something like that, so at least there we had some options of how to spend those 7 hours. And then when we were boarding the transatlantic flight from Madrid to Miami, as we were boarding, we were handed out new boarding passes because the plane had changed. Now, again, positive thinking, we had been upgraded to their newest plane, which was nice because then we got to experience the Iberia's newest business class version, which was great. But that meant that we were thrown on different sides of the plane. We both had window seats, but on the opposite sides of the plane versus the kind of honeymoon seats that we had originally booked at the middle of the plane next to each other. It was all fine in the end. I was actually able to switch seats and go on the same side as my husband. We both had window seats, but we were just behind each other. But at least we were able to interact a little bit throughout the flight by being closer to each other. But I would say overall, very little minor things. They are things that happen when you travel. I mean, flights get canceled, flights get rebooked. You might get an aircraft change and then your original seats change. So you have to roll with the flow. But just because we had all of these experiences bundled together, it affected a little bit our overall experience as well. But I would say very happy. We got there safely, we got back safely, and we were very comfortable on the flights both to Miami and back. So if you are considering Iberia, it's a very doable option. And I think the price point was good for Iberia business class. That was why we booked it. It was the only reasonable priced business flight that could get us to Miami for our cruise. So for us, it was exactly what we were looking for in the end. So don't shy away from Iberia, but just be prepared that if you are an English speaker or not a Spanish speaker, let's put it that way, your experience might be a little bit hindered, but still no showstoppers there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the channel again next time. Bye, guys.
About to leave, already packing, come with me. I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know.